Welcome back to the Delaware Way. I'm Larry Menti. The show is called Blue Collar Millionaire. It airs on CNBC, and they find blue-collar millionaires across the country, and they found one right here in Delaware. I'd like to introduce to you Glenn Fedale, who is the president and owner of Fedale Roofing. Quite a success story you have. When did you start the business?
About 14 years ago, 2002.
And that had to be daunting, because you put a lot on the line when you start a business, right?
Yeah, it was a little intimidating at first. When I went into it, I was able to gather some work while I was still working at another place and kind of make it an easier decision, so I had some work to leave with.
The amazing thing is, and I just saw some of the financials from the show, $350,000 the first year. Correct me if I'm wrong in this. By the fifth year, it was $16 million?
No. By the fifth year, it was about $4 million.
By about $4 million.
And then last year was about $16 million.
Last year was $16 million.
Yeah.
I jumped way ahead.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Thanks.
No, it is. It's really amazing. And so you have a success story that many people aspire to. Talk about the steps of that success story, because I'm sure it's not as easy as me just throwing out those figures.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I guess probably the biggest thing is the mistakes that you make. When something goes wrong, it's very easy to get discouraged about it, or you get stuck thinking that you're going to fail or it's going to happen again. Whereas when you analyze and you figure out why it went wrong and what actually went wrong, you can correct the decision to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Does it take a certain personality?
I think so. I think you got to be aggressive. You have to make the decision to be encouraged every day. You have to take actions most of all. I mean, I think the soul behind anything is having an idea, but actually being able to practice it and apply it.
Let's talk about how you can help an entrepreneur out there. What steps should they be taking?
Working harder and smarter than anyone around you. Just putting in that extra time, being able to figure things out faster, staying humble, and growing with everything you do. I mean, the biggest thing is just constant learning.
And take on the failures, right?
I mean,
absolutely. No matter how smart you are, no matter how hard you work, you're going to come across failures.
Always going to come across failures, and failures turn into the biggest successes as long as you handle them correctly.
Well, give me an example.
Well, earlier in my career, I went on to do a certain type of roof that seemed really awesome. It was basically a fiberglass roof. It was not really tested. It was it really looked cool. You could get any color. It was basically like how they make a boat, but they put it on a roof. So you could put grit in it so it doesn't slip, and it just really looks cool. But there's really no system behind it except for guys that make boats. I said, wow, it's the greatest idea in the world. I think I could revolutionize the industry around here. So I got some guys that know how to do it, that knew how to make boats essentially. And we did a roof in fiberglass, and it looked pretty cool, but it didn't stand the test of time. So about 3 years later, there was some cracking on it, there was some other stuff. And the application process in the beginning was pretty rough, and then it ended up failing over time.
So that was a mistake.
That was a mistake.
And you learned from it? How?
Well, I just said, next time I'm going to do my diligence as far as whether this would be an appropriate thing that I want to put my name behind. And later on, me actually having to fix that, which goes into play with the integrity of the company. You know, if we do something wrong, we fix it. You realize what you're good at and what you're not, and how you should chase that.
And that's a secret to life. Is you have some strengths, you play to your strengths, and you keep away from your weaknesses.
Absolutely.
What's the reaction since the show been?
It's been really cool. I've had a couple times where people come up and say, hey, I saw you on that show. And then I've had people from my past reach out. I remember a guy who was sitting at the blackjack table in Las Vegas who had said, it called me from Canada and said, I just saw the show. And he was all the way to Canada.
Does it help you with your business?
It really has. Yeah, it's developed the awareness of us, and it sparked some curiosity, especially in a positive way. I've been contacted to talk to some young entrepreneur stuff, sit on some panels for entrepreneurship conversations, and it's been neat.
And you do some education here in the state, right?
Yep, yeah, I went to Delta Tech for almost 2 years for accounting.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much for coming in. I do really appreciate it.
Thank you, buddy.
You know, I envy you. I'm a little jealous. Glenn Fedale, president and owner of Fedale Roofing and a blue-collar millionaire. That wraps up the Delaware Way for this week. I'm Larry Menti. Stick around now for another thing.